So, are you ready? We have two of the best content creators of India here, which makes me very nervous because next to you guys, it's hard for me to do something good. How are you? All right, so let's have a seat. So happy to have you guys. I mean, it's been more than a year that we met each other. Amazing experience for me. That's where I understand that content creator is huge in India, much bigger than what I thought. But let's start by the beginning. So, can you tell us, maybe Ranveer, who you were before becoming BeerBiceps? Who was Ranveer when he was a student and before the one we know today?
A little dangerous for me to say what I was before BeerBiceps. A lot of parties, but also a lot of hard work in engineering college. Did a lot of internships. Wanted to launch businesses right after engineering college, but didn't know how to. So I utilized whatever skill sets I had and I became a fitness trainer first. And for a year or two, that's how I earned money. Fueled the YouTube journey. And then one thing led to another. And then we kept building out BeerBiceps, Monk Entertainment, all these other businesses.
And for you, Sharan, were you a finance expert before beginning or you learned on the job?
I was working as a consultant. I was working at KPMG. And my dream was to get into an Ivy League college. So I was working my ass off to get into a good college by preparing for my GMAT exam, CAT exam. So that was me. And during the lockdown is when I started educating people about finance. And then I reached 1 million followers, got into Columbia Business School, but then I decided to stay back in India and do this instead.
I have something to say first. Sorry, I have to just get it off my chest, okay? Because Hindi में बोलूँ, ठीक है? Okay, एक खुल के बात बोलना चाहूँगा इन दोनों के बारे में. Sorry, Fabien, if you're not picking up on what I'm. बहुत सारे लोग मिले हैं पॉडकास्ट जर्नी के थ्रू. बहुत सारे लोगों के दिमाग को जाना है. ये दोनों बहुत स्पेशल लोग हैं और दोनों का दिल बहुत साफ है. There's two of the smartest people like I've met in the podcast journey. Easily, both these guys. दोनों को personally जानता हूँ. Like, if I ever have like 15 minutes with Fabien, we were just having dinner yesterday, I'll learn at least 20 things in those 15 minutes. So very special person, but very humble. Same, Sharan, same. Too humble despite having this much information in their head. So just good to be on the stage with you guys. Just had to get that out.
Thank you, but we are here to talk about you more than me.
No, chill.
I mean, he's really very friendly and open. I have questions, but if you want to just talk, we can. Don't worry. Otherwise, I go with my question.
I'm just feeling very nervous for the first time after a long time. I'm getting stage fright again. Being on a stage like this, the first time. Yes. I'm
seriously,
like,
after millions of views?
There's a billionaire on one side, and then there is one of India's biggest podcasters on the other side. I just feel like, how did this even happen? Like, I'm back to my 25-year-old version, and I'm like, you were earning 27,000 rupees a month just 5 years back, and 5 years later, you're here. So I'm just feeling a lot of stage fright right now. I'm just like, okay, Sharan, you got this. Let this just do it.
Just a talk between friends.
Yeah, in the whole content creator circle, but everyone talks about Sharan as one of the only guys who has actually built out business from the world of content in a very short time. Yeah. He's just too much in his game. He's working too hard. But he's the guy who's earned the respect in like the industry.
Yeah, and it's something very difficult for a content creator is to build a business out of that, to keep being authentic while building a business. And frankly, Sharan did a really good job on that.
All right, enough about me, guys. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Sharan ke liye taaliyan.
Just to make you feel better. Maybe you can explain us how you did, why you succeeded where others had difficulties.
Yeah, I think success is something that people see on the outside. They don't see how many problems that you faced, what are the challenges that you faced. I would say I'm just somebody who just failed more number of times than the other content creators because it's just about not stopping. And there are days every single month where I'm like, do I need to continue this or should I stop? And the good thing about my situation right now I'm so deep in it that I cannot stop. So even when I have bad days, I can't be like, okay, let's just stop it. Let's just shut shop and go back to my home or just move to the mountains and chill because you've made enough money. But now I'm like, there are 125 people. So even if you have a bad day, you just need to keep going forward and just grind it out. So I think it's just the ability to deal with bad days, which really helps you out, and doing a lot of experiments. I'm not somebody who considers myself as, I know everything, I figured I've made this grand 5-year plan and everything is going according to plan. It's just about figuring it out along the way. Every single month, I always have to meet like people who are smarter than me, because if I'm not meeting people who are smarter than me, I know that I'm not going to keep growing. So if I'm the smartest person in the room, then I'm not growing enough. So it's just about that and learning from people who are better than me. I mean, I remember a couple of years back when we did our podcast together, I asked you so many questions about how to run an organization. You told me that you have a 1,000+ people team. Back then, I only had like 20 employees. And you told me so many good lessons about how to, build a large organization. And you told me, the names of all the 1,000 people in your organization. And you told me that is one of the secrets, because you need to be on a one-on-one relationship with all of those people. And that has really helped me, because people think that, okay, you just talk to your higher up managers and then they will take care of the rest. But it doesn't work that way. You need to have a one-on-one relationship with almost all the people, especially when you're building something from scratch. So I think these are some of the things that really helped me out in my career.
Yeah, you can. Ranveer, you often speak about discipline and consistency. What's the daily habit or ritual that you still have today that really made you who you are?
Daily habit?
Yes.
Helps me a lot. In fact, we were just talking about this earlier, but I'm very serious about my morning routine, my meditation, because it just clears out my head. So sitting in silence, sitting alone, I start off very quiet. And obviously, personally, I'm a believer that for content creation specifically, people don't talk about this enough, but I think your physical health plays a huge role in continuing your career. Because in our industry, they say that the average career is only 3 years long. But no one understands why it's only 3 years long. You have to reinvent every 3 years. And that reinvention phase takes a lot out of you. You need to keep your body and your mind ready for it. Loosely speaking, I think the same things apply to the business world also. Because even business, I'm sure there's a lot of reinvention that takes place.
I don't know if you know, but Ranveer is extremely focused. I remember when I went to doing the podcast with you, there was a plant with a leaf that was not green enough. And before starting the podcast, he noticed the leaf and we had to cut the leaf and then we could start the podcast. He's really focused about every single detail.
I just want to add something. He said, about reinvention. I would say as a content creator, you need to reinvent more number of times than as an entrepreneur. Because as an entrepreneur, once you start doing something and it's growing, it's always compounding, right? You don't have to always go back to, level 0 and figure things out again. But as a content creator, when he said reinvention, and the reason why most creators do not last more than 3 years, because they're constantly brought down to 0 and again reinvent, brought down to 0, again reinvent. And he's the only creator, I would say, who's been able to do it for more than 10 years, right? There's nobody out there, maybe 1 or 2 other people, but nobody who has done it as good as him.
And what about you? Do you have habits or daily routines?
I've just done it for 5 years now. So I think, and it's not like, because I've done 5 years, it's like half the journey, half the effort. It just gets harder and harder because the audience in India is like, okay, yaar, I've seen this guy so many times, kuch naya dikha do. Like, how much can I entertain, right? Like, after 5 years, there's a saturation point in the audience head as well. So then after that, surviving every year becomes that much harder because you need to now reinvent faster and faster because like, okay, ye ho gaya, what's next? What's next? What's next? So it becomes harder and harder after the 5th and the 6th year.
And what about today? Do you feel more like a content creator or entrepreneur?
Yeah, that's why I started a business, because it gets harder.
Yeah.
So then I thought, okay, let me just capitalize on what I built into the business quickly so that even if I'm not able to reinvent myself faster and faster, the business will sort of take care of me, because then the business becomes something not so dependent on me, and then that sort of keeps moving forward and compounding.
Okay. So Ranveer, how did you do to stay relevant for 10 years? How did you, in a world of clickbait and trends, how did you stay authentic and scale based on that?
By using Odoo for my backend.
That's a good one.
Honestly, I think from day one, any content creator who survived, Sharan, great example. We have Ganesh, from Think School, another great example. You have to view content as a business at the end of the day. Profits and losses matter, systems matter, SOPs matter. And then there has to be that little room for the art as well. You have to understand where society is at, because technically I have now become of the belief that every content creator on some level, or the entire content industry, is kind of competing with the film industries of the world. We're competing for that same attention real estate. So both industries get paid to understand what's happening in society and then serving society what it wants. But it's becoming more and more difficult with time because of this short attention span problem. So I think being a content creator has become very, very difficult as the years have passed, and I don't know where the industry is going, but you have to just stay at it. At some point, I actually think, again, back to Sharan, this decision of building businesses off of content, this is the only way content creation career should be thought about. I don't think that the film industries or even OTT have too much space for content creators to transition into acting. I think you need to be very passionate about it. But every content creator should figure out how to build some business off of this play. Because the one hardcore lesson that I've learned this year especially is that fame will always rent you some money, but money can always buy you back the fame. So it's important to actually accumulate wealth to even maintain your fame in the long term. And there's countless examples of people who do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And so let's speak about the entrepreneur in you, Sharan. How did you, I guess at the beginning you were doing everything yourself, then you recruited a few people. How did you stop being the one doing everything and rely on a team? That's something difficult for any entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's very difficult to do that, because in the beginning you're like, nobody can do it as good as me, so might as well do everything myself. But then you realize that you're not able to grow as fast, and then you're also mentally drained all the time when you're doing everything yourself. And eventually it's like a machine that is overworking itself, and it'll break down and it'll just kill itself. So instead of doing that, why don't you allocate some of the work to some other machine components, right? Which can do it less efficient than you, but at least the machine as a whole can survive longer. So that is what I realized. And I realized that you need to be patient. You need to not just hire the right people. A lot of people think that you hire the right person and your problems are solved. Nothing is further away from the truth. You hire the right person who's willing to learn, invest your time and energy into them, and they get better and better, and eventually they get better than you. And then that's when the magic starts happening. Because once they get better than you, then you can focus on other things and solve other problems by getting people who are better than you. And then that's how the whole thing grows, right? And a lot of people think to hire people better than you, it is you're going to spend more money. No, it's actually spending more time in sort of translating your vision and knowledge to them and trusting them that they will do the job better than you over a period of time. It'll take at least a year. So you need to have that patience, right? You can't just hire someone, look at them for 1 month, they're like, this person is not good, and then look for another person. Doesn't work that way. It's like just building a relationship in anything in life.
Yeah, building a team is like building a company. You have to invest time on it. And
absolutely, yeah.
And for you, Ranveer, how did you invest in your personal growth? How did you decide what's worth spending time on? What are the good trends, the lower trends?
Again, for a content creator, it's a little like the way you look matters after a point a lot for your branding, the way you present yourself. So I think it goes very hand in hand with being a content creator in the long term. You have to invest in your personal growth because your career began with you writing for social media. And even at the 10-year mark, it's still down to your own perspectives, your own sense of creativity, which comes from your own life experiences. So you need to keep accumulating knowledge, accumulating life experiences to keep things going. That's my only input. That keep being with smart people like Fabien and keep moving forward in content.
And what are the next trends? I know it's a difficult question, but what are the next trends to watch or the next thing you are focusing on?
I do think that YouTube is, I think they've been public about this, but they are competing with the OTT platforms of the world at this point for TV viewership. Everyone's moved to smart TVs. So I think in the long term, YouTube has two expectations of content creators. One is focus on the short content, obviously keep bettering that. The other one is make content that's worthy enough to compete with all the Netflix documentaries. So very high-end content. The barrier to entry has become much more difficult within content, but I think that that's what YouTube is going to reward in the long term.
Okay. And I have a question for both of you. Do you believe the Indian entrepreneur should focus on the domestic market, or they should sell global because they can sell at a higher price in other countries?
So very interesting question. And I think it entirely depends on the industry that you're in. But generally, the holy formula is that if you can build in India and sell outside India, right? Because the cost of doing things in India is cheap. And if you can sell outside India, you will have higher sales and the unit economics becomes much better. So the profit margins become much better. And problem in India is that if you only focus on the Indian market, eventually then it becomes a game of performance marketing. Initially, the customer acquisition cost is lower, but then it just keeps increasing and increasing. So the only way to sort of disrupt that is to have a global audience so that you somehow offset the cost of marketing by getting a higher paying audience for that same product. Like I'll give you an example. So when we began the 1% Club, in the beginning, we were only catering to the Indian audience to give them financial education and now wealth management. When we started offering wealth management services, the highest price we could go to in the Indian market was about 50,000 rupees, 75,000 rupees for a yearly service. But once we started targeting the NRI audience in US, UAE, they're ready to pay like $1,000 like this. For them, $1,000 is like giving 10,000 rupees, right? But they are getting immense value out of it. Right? And for us, because we are based out of India, the profit margins just doubles. So I think it's always a good idea to sort of, I would not say international, but there's millions of NRIs living outside of India, and they would love to buy products from India. So I think that's a very good market to tap into.
Yeah, nothing to add here. That's how we're looking at global expansion in terms of content as well, in terms of all the businesses associated. Sell it to the globe, but you just need to know global language better. I think that's one room for improvement that every Indian entrepreneur can go about. We need to understand how the global markets think.
Maybe a completely different question. You are both from Mumbai, actually from the same building, I guess. Would your story have been different if you were from Gujarat or Ahmedabad? What do you think?
You wanna go ahead?
I do believe that Mumbai adds a lot of value while you're growing up. But to be very honest, everyone my age, all the type A personalities who are doing well in Mumbai now are kind of thinking of leaving because of the quality of life being better in other cities. So I do believe that being from Mumbai honestly gives you a little bit of a head start, but there is a trade-off. It's a very stressful environment to grow up in. So happiness is better outside of Mumbai, but you get that career boost in Mumbai. And generally, to all my Indian friends, I always tell them that spend 3 to 5 years in Mumbai because it can really give you a career boost, and then have an intention of leaving because it's not great quality life.
Yeah, so I completely mirror that. Mumbai is not good for your happiness. And fun fact is I'm actually not from Mumbai. I'm actually from a small town called Mangalore. Is there anybody from Mangalore here? Mangalore city? Like one person.
It's
right?
that small.
Yeah, it's a very small town. Has about 5 lakh people living there, and that's where I'm from. I lived there for almost 18 years. Then I moved to Bangalore, which was the first big city I moved into for my college for about 5-6 years, and then I just moved into Mumbai 2 years back. So as somebody who moved from a tier 2 town to the largest, richest city of India, what I've realized is that Mumbai is definitely, and Mumbai and Bangalore both, is definitely amazing for making money. And the reason for that is very, very simple. It's not that you cannot make money from another place, but your location and your vibe and your environment matters a lot. Now, as human beings, we love to mirror our surroundings. So if everybody around you is like very laid back and relaxed, and anything that they want to start exciting is like, let's start it next Monday. Monday ko dekhte hai. That's the common phrase. If that is going to be your environment, it's going to be very difficult for you to sort of be urgent and action-oriented in your own life. In Mumbai, if you get a good idea, you start it the very next hour, right? You start making calls, asking who are the best people I can learn from, set up the meeting the very next day, understand what I can understand from that meeting, and get started on it the very next day. So that urgency comes only when you're in a place like Mumbai. And when you're building a business, competition is very, very brutal, right? If you are going to get into an industry, you have competitors in Mumbai and competitors in other small towns. There is a reason why almost half of the wealth is in Mumbai. Because the environment and the energy is so intense over there that the competition is so high that they're not going to wait around for next week. They're going to start the very next day. So Mumbai brings out the best in you. Toxic, obviously. Happiness goes down, but you're going to be very rich.
Interesting. So before moving to the question from the crowd, if you have to add one thing today that you want to say to these young entrepreneurs, what would it be? Any advice?
If there was something to say.
An advice for the young entrepreneurs we have in the room.
I have a dark one, so I'll take it later. No, you first. I'll down the mood.
Now I think a lot before I speak, so. That's the advice. Think before you speak. Go on.
To me? Okay, all right. Okay. So you're going to lighten the mood later. All right. So I think the next 2 or 3 years is going to be really dark, really tough. And as an entrepreneur, I can see it happening. I'll tell you why. I feel at least half of the jobs that we are aware of today will not exist in the next 2 or 3 years. And that is okay because in an ideal world, if everybody is upskilling themselves quickly, it's still all right. But then there's a second problem. Even if everybody upskills, and you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, obviously, everybody's heard of this cute little word called AI, right? Everybody knows about it. Now, if I assume an ideal world and assume that all 2,000 people over here is going to upskill and are ready to create the next level AI agents, and you're like super notch, 10 on 10 with your AI skills. Even then, there's not going to be enough jobs left, right? So now it's almost like a race against time that in the next 2 or 3 years, that the number of jobs is going to go from, let's say, 100 to 30 or 40. And the people who are able to upskill them fast enough is going to fill up those slots. It's like first come, first serve basis. If you're late, you're not going to get that slot in the first place. And you need to completely reinvent yourself because there's no other corporate jobs left and you need to fend for yourself. So that is the dark reality I'm seeing. And I can say this confidently because it's happening in my own organization where we are not hiring anymore. We're waiting for people to leave because I know that those jobs are already being automated by AI. And the number of new job postings, you're already reading the news. There are no new job posting happenings. And people are actually dropping out of colleges because they're like, what they're studying for is not going to be available 2-3 years later. So dark reality out there. The only game is speed. Upskill yourself quickly. Because right now in this room, if there are any person who claim to be a good builder of AI agents, you'll get a job in my company easily for like 20-25 lakh package. But there are very few people out there right now. And that time is running out. There are, let's say, like 2 or 3 years left for you to upskill yourself and take those jobs.
All I want to say, it's an addition to what Sharan is saying. Even within this whole AI realm, the actual human skill that everyone will need to have is clarity of thought for the sake of better prompt engineering, for the sake of better programming of AI agents. Develop clarity of thought a lot through good conversations and only take advice from people that you're happy to exchange places with. There's too much information out there on the internet today, too much information around us. So selectively take advice. For example, if you want to figure out how to build wealth, take advice from someone who's already built wealth. Ideally, take advice from an entrepreneur. It doesn't make sense taking advice from, say, an actor when it comes to wealth, but you can take advice from them when it comes to PR strategies, etc. So in this clutter of information, just get your information from the right places. Get clarity of thought because that will translate to better prompt engineering.
So you can raise your hand if you have questions and we will distribute microphone.
So that lady.
Distribute microphone?
Whoa. You built the best PR over here.
Okay, first question.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Hi, bro.
Sir, I am Gurshan. I am from Indore. I am 17 years old. I have a question from you all. सर मैं ना कभी कुछ भी करने जाता हूँ ना तो थोड़े टाइम करता हूँ, फिर मन भर जाता है, आगे कुछ करने की इच्छा नहीं करती। और फिर बाद में सब लोग जैसे खुद को भी लगता है कि कुछ है नहीं, काम के नहीं हो, लोग भी बोलते हैं, और फिर हमें भी लगता है कि कुछ काम के नहीं हो, और आगे कुछ करो ना तो फिर इच्छा भी नहीं होती कि आगे जैसे कुछ और करने की। मतलब एक टास्क थोड़े टाइम किया फिर छोड़ दिया, कुछ किया फिर छोड़ दिया। तो एक टास्क पे मतलब कंसिस्टेंट रहना, डिसिप्लिन बिल्ड करना कैसे?
मैं ना अभी 10 साल से ऐसे मोटिवेशनल स्पीचेस कर रहा हूँ, ये हमेशा लोग पूछते हैं, बट ईयर 10 में मेरा एक सोल्यूशन है, शॉर्ट कंटेंट देखना बंद करो। सच में प्रॉब्लम्स हो जाते, मतलब डिसिप्लिन इसलिए नहीं बिल्ड हो रहा क्योंकि डोपामिन सिस्टम थोड़ा खराब हो चुका है। तो डोपामिन सिस्टम को पहले फिक्स करो। पर्सनली व्हाट हैड हेल्प्ड मी अ लॉट इज फिजिकल फिटनेस टू बिगिन विद, वो पहले लाओ अपनी लाइफ में, वहां से बहुत कुछ हो सकता है। वहां से डिसिप्लिन बिल्ड करो, डोपामिन सिस्टम को फिक्स करो। आई जेन्युइनली फील जेन जी और जेन अल्फा के लिए सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज यही है, शॉर्ट कंटेंट का होना। ये हमारे टाइम में नहीं होता। वी वर एबल टू बिल्ड डिसिप्लिन एट योर एज, लिटिल बिट बेटर, बट इट्स नॉट योर फॉल्ट। जस्ट रियली से नो टू शॉर्ट कंटेंट। सिगरेट स्मोकिंग की तरह है वो। तो एंड आई एम अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर, आई मेक माई मनी थ्रू शॉर्ट कंटेंट, बट आई डोंट थिंक इट्स हेल्दी इन द लॉन्ग टर्म।
Sharan sir, your advice please.
Yeah, I actually have a filter on my Instagram of time limit.
Okay. Yes.
After 4 hours, it tells me that time ho chuka hai, band kar do. So I agree with that 100%. And earlier, I used to watch 7-8 hours of content saying, I'm learning, kuch inspiration aayega. But I realized my attention span dropping. I was not able to focus on myself. I was not able to focus on new things I'm doing. And I was like thinking, yeah, whatever I'm doing, I'm not able to do. My business will keep dropping. But once I was sort of reduce my short form content consumption, I was able to, really stick to a project for very long. The problem is whenever you face a problem in the work that you're doing, you give up too easily, right? It's about going through those hardships and not stopping. And that requires focus. And constantly talking, whenever you face a problem, we think that if I'm not able to solve, nahi hoga, let's go on to the next project. But talk to people who are 1 step ahead of you, 2 steps ahead of you, because for them, solving that problem is by hath ka khel. So you need to find such people in that industry that you're in.
Sir, your advice please.
I also have to answer. I don't watch YouTube. I don't watch Instagram. I have no TikTok at all. So sorry, guys. and I have 2 kids, and my kids can't watch social media because I do believe that it kills concentration and focus. There are a lot of studies about that, but that's my personal opinion.
Europe's youngest billionaire, just putting that in context.
Next question.
Ranveer, I am currently 16 years old and I am in class 11th. But I want to ask you, I really admire you. I watch all your podcasts. I want to ask you that what's the one advice that you would give to someone who is currently 16 years old? And because I'm really good at academics, but I think that current academics won't be relevant in recent next 10 to 15 years after that, because AI is there and it will replace all those things. What skill I should invest my time right now in?
Do internships and do each internship for at least 3 months and be ready to do the dirty work. That's it. There's no other advice.
Okay, thank you so much.
Next question. Microphone is...
Hello, I am Bhaskar Chitri from Majitar, East Sikkim, from the northeast of India. And I'm currently here for my studies, and I have few questions like, what is your opinion on Donald Trump saying that India is a dead economy, and why are we so much dependent on other countries for software, AIs and all? Why are we not able to build our own NVIDIA, OpenAI or many things like that? Why are we dependent on others? Why are investors not investing in other companies which can make India?
Maybe I can. I think you don't know how lucky you are. India is a country that exports a lot, much more than the majority of the other countries. Sometimes you export more services than goods, but you still export a lot. Imagine in Europe, we don't produce nothing in Europe. In Africa, they don't produce a lot. So you really are in a country that produce and manufacture. Of course, you should do more, and the government with Make in India is pushing to do even more. But you are not in a bad position. You are in a very good position. You have 8% GDP growth. You have a mindset of entrepreneur like I've never seen in a lot of countries where I worked for. So you are in a country where everything is possible. The opportunities are there. And when you say we depend on other country, I think I would say it in another way. You work with other country. It's one of the main advantages of India is you all speak English. Chinese have a lot of difficulties working with Americans and Europeans because of the language barrier. You all speak more or less English. So it's a huge advantage, so you can better offer services in other countries. There is one thing that India failed in its development, is to retain the brains in India. One of the big issues is that a lot of smart Indians, they want to go to the United States, and they went there and they created big companies there. 50% of the top companies in the US are managed by people that are not Americans. So they have been good at importing the talents. That's the only thing India faces. But apart from that, your economy, your production, everything is really good.
Hello. Hi, Ranveer. This is Akshay. So I have started a podcast beyond the metro for tier 2 towns entrepreneur. My question to you, how to invite your first set of guests to your podcast? Question number 2, initially, क्या ये किसी specialized niche पे oriented होना चाहिए या आप multiple segment के लोगों को बुला सकते हो?
मैं 2025 के पर्सपेक्टिव से बताऊंगा. आई फील कि एक्चुअली शॉर्ट कंटेंट गेम क्रैक करनी चाहिए. अगर आप पॉडकास्ट भी कर रहे हो, उसकी मेन बेनिफिट ये है कि आपके शॉर्ट कंटेंट गेम को वो पेट्रोल दे देता है. तो पहले उस पर्सपेक्टिव से भी सोचो. एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ गेस्ट, सी हार्श ट्रूथ ये है कि स्पेशली अगर बिजनेस पॉडकास्ट रन करना है तो या तो बॉम्बे में रहना पड़ेगा या बैंगलोर में. दैट्स द ट्रूथ इफ यू वांट टू टॉप टियर गेस्ट. आई एम सॉरी, आई एम जस्ट टेलिंग यू हाउ इट इज. या यू हैव टू मेक ट्रिप्स टू दीज प्लेसेस. और बीच की क्वेश्चन मैं भूल गया, क्या पूछा?
किसी स्पेशलाइज, लेट्स से आई एम फोकसिंग ऑन हेल्थ केयर, तो क्या किसी सबको बुला सकते हो या किसी स्पेशल नीश पे फोकस करना चाहिए?
नीश से शुरुआत कर सकते हो.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot.
So the last one question, and then we will have to go. I'm sorry because there is other interesting speakers. So last question. Where's the microphone?
Hello. My question is, you both are an entrepreneur, and आपकी जर्नी कंटेंट से स्टार्ट हुई थी. तो आपने किस लेवल पे सोचा कि मुझे अब बिजनेस लॉन्च करना है? एंड एक क्रिएटर को किस लेवल पे बिजनेस लॉन्च करना चाहिए? एंड उस बिजनेस वो लाइक उस क्रिएटर को किस लेवल पे बिजनेस को लॉन्च करना चाहिए?
आपके बाल बहुत सुंदर हैं.
थैंक यू.
You go for it.
Like, I didn't understand the question. Like,
At what level do you know to jump into business? Like, I am a content strategist. मैं क्रिएटर्स के लिए वर्क करता हूँ, स्क्रिप्टिंग, कंटेंट स्ट्रेटजी. तो वो 100K पे पहुँच गए, 200K पे पहुँच गए, बट वो ब्रांड डील से ज़्यादा कमाना चाहता है. ब्रांड डील से इतना नहीं आ रहा. वो कह रहा है मुझे बिजनेस लॉन्च करना है. तो किस लेवल पे लॉन्च करना चाहिए? क्योंकि बड़ी टीम लगेगी, बड़ी कॉस्टिंग लगेगी.
Right. It's not a factor of number of followers or number of views. Once you feel like you have a community of people who trust you, even if that community is 10,000 people strong, and a good indicator over here is looking at your broadcast channel. If the broadcast channel has at least 5,000, 10,000 people, you can start a business immediately. Because those are enough for you to have a proof of concept that at least 5,000 people are buying from me. Then you can launch the business and scale it more with ads.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sharan, Ranveer.
Thank you.
It was nice to have you.
Thank you so much.